Greetings, salutations. Happy Wednesday, August the 26th, 2026. Welcome to Backstage, the daily show for entrepreneurs, founders, visionaries, and builders ready to stop waiting in the wings and let their stories power their growth. Happy Wednesday to you. I am absolutely beat. I'm just having trouble. Man, I guess it's getting older. I don't know. It's like I have these incredible days. And sometimes they just wipe me out and I get a little bit of a slower start. So we're trying to juice ourselves up here with some coffee and get going here. But today I've got Dolly Parton on the brain. And because I think, in the world of building a business and a reputation and spreading a message and being known for something iconic, I mean, Dolly Parton fits that bill just on every front. So I want to talk about her. Partly because I think the United States and the world lost a true treasure in terms of what she represented and built. She will be missed. And there's just few characters like her that transcend party, political party, that transcend so many different lines. And she was truly a special human being. So she died, I think, was it yesterday or the day before? And it was really sad to hear that. And 80 years old, lost her husband recently. But I was thinking, I was not like a huge Dolly Parton fan. Like, I couldn't tell you all of her songs. I know she wrote, some iconic songs that were also sung by other people, etc. So, her musical career is sort of obvious. But I went back and I looked at, what was her business arc? So Velvet Apple Music in her early career was her music publishing vehicle. It says here that Parton retained ownership control of much of her songwriting catalog rather than simply taking recording income. So for example, she wrote I Will Always Love You, which of course was a massive hit. Sandollar Productions started in 1985, film TV production company co-founded with her manager Sandy Gallon. Produced projects including Father of the Bride, Sabrina, the documentary Common Threads, and surprisingly, both the Buffy Vampire the Slayer movie and TV franchise. That was Dolly's company. Dollywood, 1986. Never been there. I've seen it on YouTube. An amusement park that's quite popular and quite successful. Dolly Parton Stampede, 1988. Parton and developers created the dinner show concept, originally Dixie Stampede, combining live entertainment, horses, and a meal. And it expanded to multiple locations. World Choice Investments Entertainment Portfolio from 1988. The company behind Stampede ultimately operated a broader family entertainment portfolio, including Pirates Voyage, Hatfield and McCoy Dinner Feud, the Comedy Barn, and other attractions. Dollywood Splash Country in 2001. It's a water park that sits adjacent to Dollywood. Dollywood Resorts from 2015 onward. Dreammore Resort and Spa, Heart Songs Lodge and Resort, turning Dollywood into a broader destination resort. So building off of Dollywood. And then the record label businesses. So she had her own record label entities, Blue Eye, Dolly Records, even more control over production. And of course, there was the Dollywood Foundation, and which created, and then the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library to give books to children in her home county. And it grew into an international literacy program. All right, if that isn't iconic, I don't know what is. I was thinking about why she left such a mark and what it can teach us all. And there were about 5 different things that came to mind. And I'm sure there's more. You're thinking of them. But if we look at just her business kind of empire that she built over a long, many decades to do that. So one lesson is it takes a long time. Okay. But 2, it's impressive. She made a lot of money. She built great businesses. But she did them all pretty much consistent with her, what we'll call it a brand, but with her values. And so I wrote down 5 things that I think to me, were attributes of Dolly Parton that are worth paying attention to, admiring, and figuring out what this means for you. So number one, she was nonpartisan. And, where she sat, she was making music. She wanted it to be quite inclusive. So she was extremely inclusive. There's few people who can operate, can go into the deepest of the South in certain communities and be accepted and go out to, other communities on the coast or whatever and be equally as loved and accepted. And it's because that's what she represented. She didn't come out with an anvil, a big hammer and like pound it down. This is what I think. She just showed people what being inclusive and accepting and open looked like. And so she didn't need to go wave big flags and protest openly. She just showed it in her own way. And I'm not saying protesting is some, terrible thing. I'm just saying for her, it was very strategic, thoughtful, intentional. It appeared to be anyway. And her whole thing was love and kindness, right? And music, through music and connection. So that came out really clearly. So she knew who she was and she knew what her values were, and she expressed them consistently over a long period of time in different ways. So she was creative in the way that she did that. So the book campaign that came much later, she was always looking for things, but they had to be consistent with the values that she put up there. She built along that point, she built complementary experiences. She didn't just sell, barbecue sauce and, Dolly's, Dolly's blueberry syrup. She sold experiences. You could come stay in a world that she helped design. So for other people, it could be creating gatherings that people can come to. They don't have to be physical structures, but she created experiences for people. And it went well beyond the music experience. So I thought that was pretty powerful. She was consistent over time. Her hair and her style, of course, changed slightly in different wigs and things. But for the most part, she maintained a look that was consistent and iconic and unique, and it was her, and only she could pull it off. And when you saw her, you didn't think she looked ridiculous because that was Dolly Parton. If someone else had done that, you'd think, my God, how ridiculous, right? But when you own your lane and you own it well, people don't look at you strangely for it, You can have the wackiest comb over, but if you pull it off with confidence, people will it gets baked in. It gets baked in. So talk about someone who can adopt an unconventional look and be loved for it because it represented something. Okay. She didn't take herself seriously either. I didn't. That was actually a sixth thing. She did not take herself too seriously, at least publicly. This is another one. She appeared to me to be tough as nails. She was always smiling and whatever, but I would see her in the occasional interview, and, if people pressed her on something she didn't want to talk about, she had a well-crafted and solid way of just not getting in the ring when she didn't want to get in the ring. You couldn't force Dolly to do anything she didn't want to do. That was pretty clear. And she was clearly whip smart and kind of cartoonish on the outside, but just didn't miss a whole lot. And then finally, I really respect how she was very public and very private at the same time. She had drawn a clear boundary, and she was pulling something authentic from her life. She would talk about her husband occasionally, this and that, but she had clear boundaries as to her private life and her public life. And they weren't inconsistent. They were just different parts of her. At least that's how I saw it. And frankly, I have a feeling that's probably why there was a lot of respect for how she did that, because she put herself out there. She toured constantly. She did tons of interviews. She was out there publicly, but so she gave the people access, but she was able to keep a good part of her life very private as well. And man, I mean, good for you, Dolly. And thanks for leaving an incredible mark and an example for what becoming an icon, a true icon in the popular culture, what that looks like. Mad respect, and I think she'll be missed by many. I think even if you're not a country music fan, you're not a Dolly fan, and I'm really not. I mean, I'm not like, I don't have a deep well of knowledge about, all of her music, but she transcended that. And that's the point of being an icon. She stood for something that was valuable to all of us, a thread, a fiber, one of the fibers that was more unifying in this country. And to lose her right now when the fibers are broken, it's tough. It's tough. But I want to focus on how she can inspire us all as we're building our own, stages and businesses and next chapters. This is someone who survived many, many decades of radical change and did it her way. And I think we can all be inspired and now do it justice by doing our own version and keeping those same values of love and kindness and openness and inclusion. All right, so that's my message for today. Tribute to Dolly Parton and what she stood for, what she built, and what it means for all of us. I hope that's helpful to you. Please leave us a comment. What do you think? Share this with a friend. Most of all, be good to yourself and others. That's what Dolly would want. And thanks, as always, for listening, and we'll check back again with you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now.